Hey folks, how's it going? I'm Jabba, and I'm going to be talking a bit about Sticks and Steel today. This is a game I made, but I want to start actually doing developer kind of logs, just to kind of let you folks know what's going on with the game and what's coming. First of all, I guess Sticks and Steel right now it's out on iOS, and this is a game I made actually 6 years ago. Okay, this is let's see, I think it was February 2011. I was between jobs and I made the basic game in about 5 weeks, just before GDC. I was going down to the Game Developers Conference. So I basically had released it just before GDC and back in February 2011. So at the time, I thought, okay, I'm really going to update this a lot. I'm going to do frequent updates, going to be adding new features left and right. I got a job, actually, soon after that. So it just fell by the wayside. And in fact, the last update I've done, okay, until now, is, or I think that was in October 2013. So this is an iOS game that's been on the App Store for over 6 years, and it's been essentially abandoned since 2013. But the thing is, it's one of those projects. I think we all have our personal projects, our hobby projects, our things that we just like to putter around in when we're not doing other things. And I'd always felt like there was so much more to do with this game. I mean, it's got a little core that is interesting, but the difference between the core of what I could implement, that minimal beginning, and what I've got in my head, is so big that I just keep thinking like, oh, I just want to go back and improve it. I want to go back and improve it. So now I've got some time to actually work on it, and I want to get back in the habit of releasing updates, right? I haven't updated this since 2013. So, when you first go back to an old code base, like who knows? Apple has probably changed the various things in how you upload apps. I didn't know if, I'd subsequently updated my updated to Mac OS, Xcode versions, et cetera, et cetera. The game itself is made in Unity, but I wasn't even sure, can I still build this? So it turns out, yeah, I've got my iOS build working. So once I'm happy with an update, I can definitely upload that to the App Store. Another big thing for me with this game has been, it's made in Unity. It's really, really easy to get it going on Android, and I'd always been wanting to do that. The problem is, because this was really a see how quickly you can release a minimal game. 5 weeks. There are a lot of rough edges, there are a lot of things I want to add, a lot of features, a lot of things I want to fix. And so every time I would start thinking about an Android update, I'd start making a list, okay, what needs to go into this? What needs to go into the game before I can launch on Android? And it would just turn into this huge list of things, and I'd never get an update done. So right now, I kind of just time boxed it. I've been working on this for the last 2 weeks. And I've got, a couple of new features, a couple of new fixes that I think would constitute a decent update. It's not going to fix everything that I think should be fixed. It's not going to add everything that needs adding. But again, it's just baby steps. I want to get back in the habit of updating this game that's been abandoned for 3 years. What's funny, it's been abandoned for 3 years, no marketing, nothing. And I still get like between 0 and 10 downloads a day. So that's tiny. That's like really trivial. It's a free game. For the first 3 years, there was actually no way of making money off of it. There were no ads, nothing. Currently, it has ads in there. So it'll pop some ads when you return to the main screen if you've been away for longer than a certain amount of time. Like for instance, here's the main menu. If you go to, for instance, high scores, if you wait, I think it's 5 to 8 seconds, and then come back, in the iOS version, it'll pop an ad. It's a little bit annoying. I want to tweak that. But anyway, point is, for the first 3 years, there is not even any way to make money off of the game. Since October 2013, that's when I put ads in. And I've just seen a little trickle. But anyway, let's talk about what's new and where I'm going. Okay, so here's the title screen. If we go continue, we go to the store screen. There have been a few changes here. So in the next update, in this coming update, I'll be adding a new potion. Right now, I don't have a new graphic for it, okay? So you've got the red potion is the health, healing. Blue was haste, that's speed. Okay, so it speeds you up, allows you to do more things per turn. And then the new one is might, so it's a kind of strength potion. So even though currently there's no character sheet for the character, there are some character statistics. So the character has a certain attack modifier, like how good they are at using that sword. The higher the attack modifier, the easier it is for them to hit opponents. And they also do a certain amount of damage. I think right now, the sword just does 1d6. So for those of you familiar with like pen and paper gaming, that would be 1d6. But what I was finding is, I mean, this is a survival mode game. So you just go round by round. Round 1, fight. Round 2, fight. Round 3. As long as you survive. And some of the more difficult enemies, they have armor, which has a certain damage resistance. So if you're doing from 1 to 6 points, and their damage resistance is like 2, you have to do more than 2 points of damage to get through the armor. So there's a lot of times where you just do 0 damage, 0 damage. It's getting really hard to damage the higher up enemies. So I thought, okay, let me add this strength potion or this might potion. And what that does right now, it gives you, I believe, a +2 to your attack. And it also, it's +1 or +2. I haven't fully balanced this yet. And it doubles the damage you do. So it makes it that much easier to overcome armor. Okay, so we've got healing potions, haste potions, meaning speed, and might, which is strength. I may have to change these names to be more... I always try to be in character. Haste, might, it sounds better than speed and strength, which just sound really generic. But that said, because this is a store, maybe I need to be generic, just for new players, people who are not used to this kind of game. So right now I've got 440 gold or coins. I think I just call them coins internally. One thing I added here, aside from the might potion, I added items that you cannot afford yet. So you've got 440 coins here. This armor costs 1,000, and the shield, the buckler, costs 500. Items that you cannot afford are grayed out. So for instance, I could buy a healing potion. See, I've got 4. If I don't want to do that, I can cancel. But see, once my gold drops below 400, I can't buy the haste potion anymore. It grays out. Okay. This is not the final cost of the strength potion. It's way more powerful than that. I think it lasts like 3 rounds. So it's going to be probably similar in cost to the speed potion. Okay, so once you've bought what you want to buy, here maybe I'll demonstrate the, well, I can demonstrate both. Okay, so I'll buy a speed potion, I'll buy a few strength potions, might potions. And then when we're done, okay, we go to the arena. Oh, in this branch, I have this thing floating here. I didn't hide it. Okay, and we intro the arena. Let me just pause there. You saw how kind of the camera started high and moved down, looking down at the arena. I'm thinking of getting rid of that transition. Like, it's just kind of ugly. The original thinking was, I would have like this crowd just going wild, So here's a little concept. So you can imagine the crowd in the Colosseum or whatever, the arena, cheering and shouting and just having these little actions. So that was kind of what you were supposed to see coming in. I may still add that. The one thing right now is I'm actually working, aside from game updates, I'm working on an art update. It's more in the concept phase right now, because there's something charming about the 2D artwork, but looking forward to things like VR, etc. There's in some ways working in 3D. Like, oh, by the way, the game is 3D, right? You can see here. The game is built in 3D, but it's kind of these 2D characters that are built out of billboards. So if we go here, where's the dude? So, dude, that's you. It actually has a skeleton, right? Here's a pelvis bone, leg, upper L. So this is a kind of skeletal rig like you might see in a 3D character, or a more traditional 3D character. But each of the pieces are just these squares. There's one rectangle for the, or I should say quad, that's the term. There's a quad for the pelvis, there's a quad for the torso, for the head, etc. So the problem is, on the one hand, like I like this 2D line work. You know, in 3D, it's actually really hard to get good-looking toon shading. And the DNA for this game is just like simple stick figures that are kind of doing horrible things to each other. I mean, the original intent was always have these very simple, naively drawn characters, but have super smooth animation. You know, I was thinking like Prince of Persia or something, whether you rotoscope it, you know, there are some videos that some people have seen. I don't know if I still have these, of me in black spandex at night in my backyard running around impersonating an orc. And the idea was that I would record myself and then trace over that for the animation. So that's called rotoscoping, when you record something and then draw over it. I think I might have found a way to do this just with a Kinect. The only problem is Kinect is good for front view, but it's not good for side view. Anyway, the intent there was, you know, have these simplified characters, but have just wicked smooth animation. Anyway, I made this game in 5 weeks. I did the walk cycle myself. You know, I have some art talent, but I'm not an artist. You'll notice there's something odd about the walking, which is it's half a walk cycle. So true story, this was, I'm getting ready to go to GDC, I'm under the crunch. I was working, I think I had my computer set up, like my desktop computer on the dining room table. And it was time for dinner, so I just like moved the computer off the dining room table, and I'd finished half of the walk cycle. But then I showed it to my wife, and she's like, you know, it looks fine. I'm like, okay, it looks fine. I'm not going to do any more work on this. So actually, you can blame her for the walk cycle. I'm just kidding. It's half a walk cycle because I finished half of it before dinner. Oh, this is great. Ever since I upgraded to Mac OS, what happened to that nice Mac usability? Because now this happens and it sucks. Are we done yet? I think we're done. Maybe one more. That was awesome. That was a great user experience. Anyway, where was I going with that? Yeah, so the crowd. This is something I'd like to do, but the obstacle for me right now is that I am working actually with a concept artist, a great guy, Ali Arshad, and we're trying to nail a new look. So keeping the old style, but doing something that could work in 2D and in 3D. The flip side is like the more I play this, you know, it's like going back to an old project that you love. The more I play it, okay, the graphics are simple, but there's something just delightful to me about 2D graphics. And if you look at games like, say, Rayman, or if you look at Child of Light, I mean, you can see how far, like Ubisoft with their specialized 2D tools, there's a great video of that. You can see how far you can go with that, pushing that look. It's really quite beautiful. That said, if thinking about newer platforms, thinking about things like VR, it would be so much easier to work in 3D with like a standard biped rig. But again, the problem is all these nice smooth lines. You start to get jaggies. You start to get there's no truly great like real-time toon shading. I would say the state of the art is something like what Pixar is doing with Paperman, but that's not real time at this point. So it's something we're working on, getting items. He's got awesome, actually, concepts of armor. I can't show that to you right now, but soon. So the dilemma for me right now is there's so many features and there's so many things to do. I don't know how much I want to spend time upgrading the current art look if we're already moving to a new look, you see. But, like this red sky annoys me. And that intro to the arena is kind of annoying. So I may just remove that for the current update. Okay, I've been working on new controls because I watched my mom. And it's not because she's my mom. It's not a comment on moms. It's just she doesn't play role-playing games. So I watched her trying to do this. And, the controls, I've watched other people tapping on it. The first thing you try to do is tap on the characters, drag them. You can't do that currently. You move, you go into this movement mode. Look, and then you kind of drag to show where you want to move to. Then you hit go, and he moves. Like 1, 2, 3 operations. And there was no feedback that you're in a movement mode, So unless you know how to do that, I bet you a lot of people are downloading this game and not even able to move. Okay. And then you go attack. Now, one funny thing, this was supposed to be total placeholder graphic, this bouncing cube, and I will be updating that. But there's a YouTube video review of an earlier version of this game. And the funny thing is, I think the reviewer thought you have to time your attack somehow to the bouncing of the cube. And that's just not the case. I don't see any way that can be true. Because this is basically a cube just on a little sine wave on the y coordinate. And all it was meant to be was saying, okay, this is the guy you can attack. So you can attack this guy because he's close enough, but you can't attack this guy. So there's no influence of the bouncing of the cube on your chance to attack. But I don't know, I guess, see, this is the problem with randomness. I guess he saw that pattern, although it's certainly not something in the code. Okay, you attack, your action goes down. I've got enough action for one more attack, and then I'm out, and it's his turn. Now I've got to choose. Okay, so this is the old movement interface. I've actually changed this. I realize now I'm on the wrong branch. So I'll just finish this round, and then I'll show you the new movement interface I've been working on. Oh, that -2. That -2, the kerning. Okay, so let's just stop this. Right, I'm working on a more direct control scheme. I may not need to close Unity, but I will, just in case. We'll go over here to my source tree. Okay, so I'm working on feature, did I not push that? Feature controls direct movement, here we go. Direct manipulation, okay. What's funny is, I typically, when I use Unity these days, I work in C#. But when I started, I was just fairly new to Unity in those days, in 2011. And I actually was writing everything in JavaScript. So I was puttering around in this code, and it took me a while to realize, oh man, this is in JavaScript. Okay, so that was the controls direct manipulation branch. We'll go back to Unity here. So the whole idea is pushing a button to go into movement mode, then dragging the character, or actually dragging the cursor, and the character's still not moving, and then having to push, go do it. It's just 3 steps, and at every step you could lose people. And there's no tutorial, there's no way for them to intuitively know how to do this. And what I've seen with a lot of people, is that, this game, I'm using a mouse here because I'm on my laptop, but you want to tap on things. People know to tap on things. So really, I just want to be able to drag the character and then tap on things to attack them. Okay. So let's try that. Okay, so here we are. Same store screen. Let's go. The annoying round intro. You can actually click through that. I may just remove it. Round 6. We intro the heroes. We intro the enemies. So one thing is, I thought, I was introing both enemies. And I thought it would be obvious to people, therefore, that they're fighting 2 guys. Like right here, you can just see a guy a bit out of frame. This is because we have this free aspect ratio. If you were on an iPad, okay, it's a narrower aspect ratio. I'm going to have to actually, I made this a bit too wide. I'm going to have to fix that. But see, you don't see the other guy. So typically, you come in, you advance, this guy advances, and then the second guy advances. And often I hear people say, oh, where'd he come from? But to me, it was so obvious that I showed him in the intro. So it's just a kind of aha moment, obviously. You get a lot of aha moments when you play test. Okay, so notice no move button. Okay. This is still not totally done, but look, I just go here, I drag the character where I want to go. Look at the action bar, the blue bar at the top of the screen. This is showing me the cost of the move. So I should probably put down a grid on the ground showing where you're allowed to move and where you reach the end of your motion. But basically you can just drag the character left and right. So it shows you how many action points it's going to spend. And then when you release is when it actually commits the move. Okay, so it's like if you think about a chess piece, you're allowed to move your chess piece around a few times as long as you keep your hand on it. You're allowed to kind of try different positions, but as soon as you release, that's it. That should not be active right there. This is something I broke. While they're walking, their attack markers should not be active. But here we see now, okay, look, it's my turn again. I can attack this guy because I'm in range. I cannot attack this guy, so he's highlighted. And I will be producing a better highlight. Okay, so how do we do that? Well, right now, I just click on the guy. That's it. So no more attack, then select, then blah, blah, blah. Just click on the guy you want to attack. That lovely -2. The zoom in camera is disabled right now for the attack. There's a simple bug I need to fix. I just need to wait for the camera transition to finish. Actually, what happened there, it's too fast to see, but I zoomed in for the attack and I zoomed out, but all in the same frame, so it doesn't actually do it. I have to wait to zoom in, then attack, then zoom out. Let me show you the new potion. So these potion buttons, I think in the update that's in the version that's out there right now, 1.2, they're over here, and they're kind of hard to push. I'm probably going to put a shadow or something behind these. They're not showing up very well against the background. But this is my strength potion, so let's just use that. Okay, so there's a simple little effect showing that I am mighty, I guess. Here's my arm, it's all strong. So now if I want to attack this guy, wow, that was anticlimactic. Let me dodge. Oh, we get that zoomed in camera. Now I'm going to attack him again. You see they're both highlighted? Wow. There we go. That was kind of disappointing. Okay. Let's get this guy. That -0, what that means is that you hit, but you didn't do enough damage to get through the armor. I would like to add maybe like a shower of sparks or something, maybe another visual indication of what's going on. Let's go after this guy. -3. Parry. I should have dodged. And strength potion. How do you select the one guy behind the other guy? That will be interesting. Now with this direct selection. I guess that was always a problem. Okay, I'm really getting hurt here. I could get killed. He could easily do 6 points of damage. So I'm going to take a health potion. Now there's an effect for that. I wanted to keep these fast and simple because, again, I'm going to be revamping the artwork. I don't know if I love that. It's like, but at least now there's some indication that the potions are taking effect. There never used to be. The speed potion, I thought, it's making you, it's affecting your brain. One thing I thought of was, when you're on the speed potion, maybe I'll change the eyes so that you don't blink. Kind of a nod to Kill Bill. But his brain is on fire or something, I don't know. I don't think this is final. That's a bit weird. But what it did, look, my action points were 100, now they're 200. So I can basically do 4 times as many, let's see, twice as many actions. There you go. Bonk. That's right. Take that. Victory. Sweet victory. And apparently they're still selectable when they're dead. Here would be my ad unit. Good. Okay, so I showed you the strength potion. I showed you some of these new effects. Again, within the constraints of the older art style. I don't want to be distracted too much if I know we're going to be doing a big update on the artwork anyway. I want to get more features in there and fix bugs. So let's see. So that was the new movement interface. You can just drag the character. You can click on them to attack. And what else? We have the the strength potion. Grayed out store items. And I moved where you activate the potions. So again, the thing is, looking at the game right now, there's so much more I could do. There are things that are broken or unpolished or unfinished, but I want to get in the habit of shipping updates. Right? If you ship one update every 3 years, no, not so good. If I ship an update every 3 weeks, the game's going to get better really fast. Places I want to get to. I want to get to character customization. This was always intended to be a role-playing game. But kind of the combat loop was just the core. What is the simplest part of a role-playing game you can do? I want to quickly get to character customization. More interesting stuff to buy in the store. Android, definitely. I currently have a working Android build. It works. It's just that because this game has been essentially abandoned on iOS for 3 years, it's not going to have much visibility. I mean, slowly, by adding stuff, I hope to build an audience. But really, launching on Android is a chance to really get a bigger audience. But I don't want to waste that, right? I want to have the game be a bit, be more polished, have a few more features before I get all those eyeballs looking at it. So there are kind of 3 big features I want to get to in the next little while, which are Android launch. I want in-app purchases for items. I also want to do multiplayer. So this is a turn-based game. It's funny, one of these features is bigger than the others. Multiplayer, cross-platform, iOS, Android. I'm definitely aiming for that. Now, that'll probably take longer than I think, but especially for a little indie game, I think the benefit is great because you can just, if you've got an iPhone, you show it to your friend who's on Android, you can actually play each other. I think where I'll go with that, this is a survival mode game only for now. So you just go round by round against greater and greater enemies until you die. You are going to die at some point, and it's just what round did you get to? In a way, the way the game is designed, PvE, or rather the way it's coded, PvE, player versus environment, multiplayer co-op, is easier for me to implement than PvP. Okay, and also you get into PvP now, it's got competition. Now people are a lot more concerned about game balance. Right, if you've upgraded your character, you really don't want to feel that somebody else has an unfair advantage. So I think there's a lot more balancing, more tuning, more care required to really do a good player versus player experience, where everybody's not mad at you all the time. But PvE, the first step is, hey, you've got one guy now, what about a party? What about, N characters, 1 character, 2, 3, 4. So that's a logical step. And then the next step is, well, what if somebody else is controlling one of those characters? Multiplayer in general is a big time sink, but because this is a turn-based game, that makes it a lot simpler in many ways. So it'll still probably take longer than I expect, but that's kind of where I'm going. Character customization, including being able to buy cooler stuff in the store, and then eventually not just one character, but multiple characters, and PvE, so cooperative play in this survival mode. No time frame on that. The main thing is to just start updating and building this game up into what it should be, or what I think it should be. Okay, so that's where I'm going. I'm pretty close on this stuff. I'd said that I wanted to spend 2 weeks on it, and no matter what I got, I would just push out an update. I think I'm probably going to spend a few more days just tying up loose ends, and I've got some testers to take a look at it. So that'll take us to the next step, and then we can add more cool stuff. Okay. Thanks for watching. All right, bye.